Imagine if Jesus was standing right here today in front of the altar. And as he's standing there, he calls one of you up, and he takes his finger and he starts digging into your ear. And then he takes and he spits into his hand, and then he puts his hand into your mouth. We'd probably all be going, "Ugh, what's going on? Does Jesus want to catch COVID or what?" In fact, this is surprising, and it leaves us with the question, why? Here was someone who, with just a thought, changed water into wine. Here's someone who was in a boat and there was a storm, and at the command of his voice, he calmed the sea. Yet here he did something so explicit, something so physical. Why? It begins, I think, with his humanity. It begins with our humanity. We see vividly how much God made himself a part of us, and how much he wanted to share himself with us. He's incarnated. He's become bone of our bone, flesh of our flesh. This is how God chose to save humankind, becoming one of us, entering into the messiness, entering into almost the grossness of it all, entering into our pain, our sorrow, into our sin, into our struggles. And he still continues to reach out to us today. Some of you may know the popular Christian singer by the name of Stephen Curtis Chapman. He and his family, they live in Nashville, Tennessee, and he's sold millions of records. He's won Grammy Awards, and he continues to sell out concerts throughout the world. And he and his wife, they have, according to today, a large family. They have an older son by the name of Will Franklin, and they have 3 younger girls who they adopted from China, and the youngest one's name was Maria. And one evening, as Will was driving the SUV into the driveway, turning the corner, his little sister Maria caught him coming, and she ran out to greet him. And as Will was driving up the driveway, the sun got in his eyes and kind of in that blind spot where he couldn't see, and he hit Maria. There she lay on the pavement, his mom and dad rushing out, calling 911, the ambulance showing up. But it was too late. Maria was gone. And that young Will, he was devastated. This was his sister that he ran into. And as he got into the car to go to the hospital with his mom and dad, Steve Curtis Chapman, through his own tears, looked into his own son's tear-stained eyes and the fear he could see inside of it. And he put his hand around his son, and he firmly hugged him gently, and he said, "Will Franklin, remember this, no matter what, your father loves you. Your father loves you." I think those are the most beautiful words any parent could say to their child. I love you. And that is what God is saying to us. I love you. Enough to become human, to become like us. No matter what, he loves us. He loves us enough to become one of us, enough not to stand back, but he enters right into the messiness of it all, part of our daily struggles. He used a human body, his own flesh and his own blood. He would give up, he would offer for our sins. Jesus did it through human elements, through his humanness, to heal us. And the miracle in today's gospel It's not the only time we encounter Jesus using his own body, his own spit. You may recall the story where the man was blind and Jesus spit into the mud and he made a paste and he smeared it all over his face. And he cured that man of his blindness. It's another moment to make us say, ew, I don't know about that. But if you think about these events, you'll realize that they also involve something else. It's about trust. It's about trust. The people who sought healing, they allowed Christ to do something. If someone wants to try and heal us using their spit, if I take and spit on my fingers and I stick them into your mouth today as you come forward for communion, you're probably going to go, ooh, wait a minute, Father, what are you doing? You might say, what's happening? Yet the people in the gospel, they didn't even flinch when Christ did that. They left themselves open to God. How open are we to God? Doesn't it say on our money, I don't know if it's on the back side or the front side of our money, it says, in God we trust. But how well do we do it? How well do we do it? Those people in the gospel, they let themselves be vulnerable. They trusted. And the result was miraculous. The people he touched regained what they had lost. They literally, if you want to put it this way, they literally came to their senses. They once again could speak, they could hear, they could see. What ended with that powerful clarity of a miracle began quite simply with an openness and a trust in God. It began with faith. What a certain hope that God could do something. If we realize that, maybe if we trust enough to let him enter into our lives and do the work he needs to do, who knows? Who knows what mighty works God might do for us? We look at our world today. Hurricane Ida destroying many homes, many families in Louisiana, flooding many people on the East Coast. Things going on in Afghanistan. Our world isn't at peace. There's tension all over the place. In God, do we trust? God continues to insert himself into the dirty details of our life. Do we invite him in? Do we trust? Trust what he's going to do. Trust and know that he knows better than we do. If we do that, maybe we'll hear and speak as we've never done before. We too might come to our senses. And will happen ultimately for one beautiful reason. As Stephen Curtis Chapman told his son in the middle of that boy's heartache, know that your Father loves you. It is what we need to remember in the middle of our own struggles. When it seems like when we've done something unforgivable, when it seems like we're broken, when it seems like there's no answer left, and maybe when we're incapable of even hearing a little good news or saying a good word, or maybe when we feel as well deaf or mute or blind, maybe it seems God can't care or do anything more. But the question is, will we trust? He can do it, he does, no matter what. Don't forget those words. Your Father loves you. Do we trust it?